Hi Bassam, how are you?
Good. How are you, Max?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. You look really chilled and relaxed.
Where are you right now?
London City, home, it's the evening. First day of London Film Festival, and congratulations, your film was actually the first film I got to see last week. And I had expectations, but I always say never read other people's reviews, watch something for yourself. So I want to talk to you about it. Before I do, let's take a look at the film for everyone that hasn't seen it.
Yeah, I'll ask you where you're from. Now, where you really from? The question seems simple, but the answer's kind of long. Britons are bored and I love a cup of tea and that. But where my genes are from, people don't really MC and that. Now, everybody, everywhere, want their country back. If you want me back to where I'm from, the proper need a map. No man's land, yeah, between trenches, no weed grows there. But it's fertilized by the brown bodies that fall for Britain in the war, so when I spit a poppy grows there. I find my own place in this business of Britishness. So stop trying to find a box for us. I'll make my own approach and fucking concept of us. Motherfucker, my blood and sweat's in us.
This is Vivian Wig, and with me is the director Bassam Tariq of new film Mogul Mowgli, which stars Riz Ahmed. Where do we start? I don't want to spoil it for people, so I'm not going to give away like what happens, but there is definitely talking points. And the first thing I want to start with is tokenism. Sorry, I'm going right there straight away.
Okay,
a lot of
great.
times,
Wow, okay.
a lot of times when you're a black or brown minority group, marginalised group of any sort, we're taught somewhere, I don't know when, but we're taught at a very young age there can only be one of us in this space. And I think in Zed's point in the film, there's a point where he gets very unwell and he's so scared about not only what's happening to him, but actually coming to terms with potentially losing his music career to somebody else, RPG. Like they can't, he's brown, he's going to take my spot. And I thought that was a really interesting topic that you guys threw in. How do you feel about that?
Oh man, that was really one of the things that kept me writing about this film or writing this film was because I'd met Riz when I'd made my first documentary, and it was playing in theaters, and he was in New York working on the show the night of, and I felt, man, like I saw these young brown directors coming up. I was like, great, I'm done. So like I was like, I should pack up my bags, I'm done, right? And it's this feeling that you just have that there can only be one because you want to be the one that opens the doors. So there's this kind of this weird savior complex that I think some of us have, and I think we wanted to talk about that. We wanted that to be really, and I think it's a funny thing where I think Riz and I really have, like, we're both balls of anxieties in different way. I think he's a really energetic person, and I bring my energy in different ways around him, but like I've got the same kind of anxiousness that he does. So I think that was something that we're always contending with. And man, there's really no easy answer with it, because the funny thing is that when you look at the industry, like Hollywood and these places, it's like whenever I walk into a room to any of these things, it's always like, do you know Kumail Nanjiani? Do you know this person? Do you know that person? So it's always like, it's a funny thing where it's like, I can only be associated with these other people. And that's okay, because I also understand that it's like a lack of their own understanding. And I think people are generally sometimes uncomfortable with our stories. So I think what is important is that we all work together more with each other. And that's what I'm learning to do more and more. It's a really funny thing though, Max, it's because when you even look at like the film festivals, it's like when you get accepted into like an Asian film festival, it's like, I don't want to play there, right? Like there's like this general feeling that I have, like, I don't want to be there. Or if I read a review, it's like, I want to read reviews written not by like brown people. But I'm learning to upend that, because at the end of the day, like what I'm realizing is that, wait, that's the problem, is that we're still looking for their approval. So much of making of this film was us giving ourselves permission to just make things for each other, and also just make mistakes and not worry about, because like not everything's really understandable to everyone in the film. And some people have been very clear about that. Like, we don't know what's going on here. And I actually kind of laugh and I like that. I'm like, that's okay. It's not for you.
But I think it's lovely because every interview I've seen you do, which I think is really cool, is you've said it's up to you. It's subjective. Take what you want from it, and I think that's really important as well. But actually, those of us that have experienced anything similar in different ways, if you're brown or black, or I think we all can relate on so many different levels, especially being in the industry that we're in. So it's so awesome. Like when I think the opening film was Steve McQueen, a black director. You guys, you know, without it feeling like tokenism, we're in a different time. You're at the BFI London Film Festival and I'm seeing a lot of brown and black faces, which to me is awesome. Does it feel like we're getting past the tokenism and perhaps there is real change coming?
I think it's really exciting to see the talent that's out there. And, you know, when you just even look at, I haven't seen Mangrove yet, but Steve McQueen's first film, Hunger, was such an important landmark film in my life and what it meant to me, because I saw this black director make something uncompromising about a guy in the IRA. I'm like, wait, what? But it was just so phenomenal, and only he could have made the film the way he did. And now when I look at the work that's coming out, and I think what's so exciting about Mogul Mowgli is you have Nabhan Rizwan, you have Anjana Vasan, you have Karen Sonia Anwar for a brief second in the film, but I love her. I think she's a phenomenally talented actor. And then of course you have Hossein Manower, who plays his cousin. We have these young actors that are just killing it right now in the game. And they're the ones that I'm really excited to see. You also have these exciting like South Asian filmmakers. I haven't seen Aleem Khan's film, but I hear it's great. So there's just so much work out there that's coming out, that's getting this attention. And it's just really exciting. So, and I think it's not the fact that people are finally paying attention. It's just that we're doing the work and they have no choice, but they have to pay attention. I think that's what it is. That because of the numbers of us working and doing this, I think that's what it is. So I think it's also important to not forget the Sudha Bachar and the Ali Khan, people like Art Malik that were in the past that really kind of, not in the past, I mean, they still exist and they're working, but they kind of laid the foundations for us to do this stuff, you know?
It's interesting as well in the film, you have this generational thing as well, which a lot of us can relate to this, regardless if you're white, black, brown, whatever. You know, your parents' generation, especially if they're from a different place, they're just naturally always on a different page and it's really hard to connect with them. And without spoiling it, there is a beautiful scene at the end of the film that's just like, yes, this is what I wanted rather than a predictable ending. But it was really interesting seeing relationships generationally as well, trying to see Riz's character almost reintroduce himself to the family and the older members, especially his dad.
Yeah, like so much of the film is our life on screen. And the funny thing is that because Riz is the actor, people will automatically assume, and he's also playing a rapper, people will automatically assume that like it's his life. But so much of the film is really taken from our, you know, experiences. And you know, so much of me has always been me running away from who my father is, but like I can't deny that I've got his lips, I've got his nose, I've got his, you know, I've got my mom's jawline. So much of that is like, and also I think for me, like there's this fear of becoming your parents, right? And like the failures of your parents and not learning from their failures, but also just trying to move on. But so much of who you are is also what they didn't do or what they did wrong. And I think that's something that I wanted to make sure that we were also, you know, tipping our hat towards. But I love that scene, you know, where and it's, I think that's what you're also talking about, is that where there's that family dinner and one end you have all the adults sitting up on the you know, on the sofas, and then you got the kids on the floor and we're all just kind of eating together, you know what I mean? And then you've got people with kids on one side, you got Zed in the middle, and you know, so it just feels like that to me was such an important scene, because so much of our eating is just all of us eating together on a dastarkhan, and it's, you know, it's on the floor, and the adults can't sit down because they got bad knees. So it's like, you know, just like all this is stuff that I think was quite important for us to get right.
I'm wondering as well, Bassam, like Riz, he strikes me as this person that can seem to do something really big, like a blockbuster like Venom, and then do something like this, and he seems to do things like this back to back. Like you're like, what is he? He's like a Superman. He just seems like such an incredible person that truly is still very connected with what he wants to do, yet he's in Hollywood. What is it about him, do you think, that makes him so special?
I think it's his British Asianness. I think Riz would not exist in the American framework. I think Riz is a product of London. He's a product of Wembley. He's somebody that knows his history. He knows the heritage of what it means to be a British Asian. Like any street that we walk down, when I once visited him in London, he was just like, we were just in his car, or we were walking, I forget, and we were in Southall, and he would just point out, this is what happened here, and this is where this happened, and this is the Southall Black Sisters, and this is where this, and it was just like, so exciting to see him talk about this stuff. But when you walk these streets of London, I don't know if you feel this, but I felt it, but it's like on the same concrete, like there's blood of your ancestors, there's the sweat of your ancestors, there's the Paki bashing, there's all this stuff that's happened. And now you're able to take those steps with such confidence, with such swagger, because you know those generations of resistance before you allow you to do it. And that's something that happens and exists in London. So when Riz walks into Hollywood, wherever Riz walks, he knows that that's what he's carrying behind him. Versus us here in the States, we're a bit white adjacent, I would say. And we're a bit like, you know, generally it's like people came, you know, from the States over here with you know, a better economic background and blah, 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 whatever, right? Like, so they had more upward, you know, mobility that allowed them to then, you know, schmooze with the white people and live in the suburbs. But so I think when we come into Hollywood, we know how to adapt and really blend into the whiteness in a really strong way. I mean whiteness, I mean like the mainstream white culture, right? Like in the mainstream power culture. We know how to interact in that world. But I think Riz brings such a strong identity with him that he can't deny it.
Well, do you know what? Lovely to talk to you. I could talk to you all day. Congratulations with the film. But Sam, I wish you guys so much success with it, and I hope you get to come to London and like view it here in a cinema too at some point. Enjoy this crazy week.
Oh, thank you. And I love, like, so flip your wig. It sounds awesome. I've never heard of it.
Basically, let loose. Don't give a shit. Do what you want. I like the sentiment. It's got nothing to do with wigs. Just wanted to point that out.
Great.
Okay, have a good week. Take care. Bye. Thank you.